What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Iso. And in this video, I'm gonna do something that a lot of other climbing YouTubers, influencers, and content creators are afraid to do. I'm gonna keep it real. Now, I've been climbing for about 2 years now, and I love this sport with my whole chest. I played a lot of sports growing up, but this is the first one that I've become obsessed with. I literally dream about climbing. And like I said in my first video, I want to go pro, and by that, I just mean having a career in this community, whether it's as a coach, which now I am, or as a route setter, or a content creator. But before I started my YouTube, there was so much crazy shit happening in the world, and I was at a bit of a crossroads. The genocide in Gaza erupted, and people were protesting every day. And the Palestinian liberation movement reminded me so much of the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests, which I made a 3-part documentary about called Free the People. I highly recommend you watch that, as it is the closest look you'll get at the 2020 protests in DC. I'll leave a link in the description. It would mean a lot to me if you checked it out, because we filmed it completely independently, just me and my best friend, and it's without a doubt the most important thing I've done in my life. Documenting those protests had a massive impact on me. I was inspired by the people's will to fight for human rights and social justice. It was amazing to see so many people join forces and create mutual aid organizations, providing free food, clothing, and supplies to the most vulnerable. But I also witnessed the police brutalize my friends day in and day out, terrorizing activists and families on Black Lives Matter Plaza, ironically, for protesting against police brutality. I myself even got arrested and spent a night in jail, literally just for filming a protest. Later in that year, the police killed 2 young black men, Dion K and Karan Hilton, and the majority of the nation doesn't even know. A lot of folks in DC don't even know. Experiencing those protests left me very traumatized, and it took a while for me to let go of my anger. Discovering climbing definitely had a huge role to play in my mental rehab, which is a huge reason why I fell in love with this so quickly. In many ways, climbing to me is like my form of meditation. For a while, it felt like a bit of an escape, but when the genocide began, I felt weird climbing. I felt like it was distracting me from what was actually going on in the world. I would watch these videos for some of my favorite creators, and it just felt so weird to me that they were just carrying on making regular content without even acknowledging what was going on. I felt like they were just ignoring it. And this wasn't just in climbing. This was also with some of my favorite artists and musicians. To me, I see the size of their platform, and it seems like it's a waste to not use your influence to do more than sell products from your sponsors. What's the point of being able to reach hundreds of thousands of people every time you drop a video and you never say anything real? Look, I get it, money talks, and sharing your political views can be controversial. But to me, regardless if I have 300 subscribers or 300,000, if a brand doesn't want to work with me because I'll say that Black Lives Matter, free Palestine, and protect trans kids, then I don't want to work with that brand. At the end of the day, I don't want to be just another climbing YouTuber. I'm an activist at heart, and as I continue to grow this platform, I want to make it very clear that I'm not afraid to use my voice. And I'll be honest, as much as I'm checking other climbing YouTubers and influencers, I'm also checking myself. When I first started this channel, I'll admit, I was avoiding the controversy. I was following the greats, trying to be like them. But as I kept making generic content, honestly, it felt like I was becoming exactly who I didn't want to be. Another creator ignoring the reality to make escapism content instead of using my platform to educate and provide space for critical dialogue. Now you might say, but this is climbing YouTube. We're here to watch people climb, not talk about geopolitics. What does it matter if they ignore global issues? Well, climbing is not something that's separate from the rest of the world. It's a global sport directly connected to the earth and its people. This is a sport that loves to pride itself on diversity and inclusion, but where is that in reality? Why is it that only 1.5% of USA climbing members identify as black? Why is it that when Molly Thompson Smith was the first black woman to climb at the Olympics, there was no major news about it? Why is it that there wasn't a single competitor from a Latin American country in any of the climbing Olympic categories? Why does no one question why at the 2023 African IFSC Cup, only 3 competitors were black? The entire roster in both men's and women's finals were all white South Africans. Are we being serious? No one thinks that's weird? No one is willing to call that out? No one questions why there are several Israeli competitors at the IFSC but no Palestinians? It isn't like Palestinians aren't climbing. They're very active in the West Bank, establishing new routes despite having to take 90-minute detours to avoid Israeli checkpoints and being harassed by soldiers and settlers. So if you're an avid outdoor climber, crag access should be very important to you. It should be at the front of your mind that climbers can't access their local crags because they're living under apartheid. We should be challenging the IFSC and the Olympics to uphold the same standards set in 1964, where South Africa was barred from competing due to their apartheid. Now, I do want to say that my experience as a mixed race climber has been a positive one. The community has been great, warm, and inviting, and I've made a lot of friends at the gym from a variety of different backgrounds. I do see diversity at the gym, but what I think a lot of people misunderstand is that even if you lump all the non-white people together, we're still a fraction of the people you'll see at the gym at any given time. Just because you see a handful of minorities doesn't mean that the sport is diverse. We're rarely ever given opportunities to be featured on major climbing platforms. Our communities rarely have access to gyms or crags, and for many of us, the only way we're introduced to the sport is through affinity groups dedicated to it. Since I've started coaching, I can count on one hand the black kids I've seen across all the teams I've coached. Even if you go on YouTube and search up black climbers, you're still gonna see a bunch of white people. Like, seriously, search African climbers and comment what you see in the results. That's why I started my channel. I wanted to be a climbing creator, and part of the reason I wasn't getting super political on it was because I wanted people to appreciate the content for the climbing, not because I'm black. I just wanted to be a black guy climbing, just as you see any other white guys climbing making content. But the more I make this stuff and the more content I watch, I realize that white climbing content creators are not going to address these issues. And while I thought that if I did what they did and just make climbing content, that I'd see success, but instead, I just feel like I've abandoned my true purpose. So while, yeah, I do plan on continuing to make regular climbing videos, I also want to get really active on this channel and do more, especially as the channel grows, because I'll be damned if I have the power to reach a couple 100,000 people and the best thing I do with my influence is give you a discount code. I mean, I might still give you a discount code, but I'm also gonna let you know that child slavery is being used in the Congo to make the iPhone you're watching this on. Cause look, I'm not mad at climbing creators making a bag. I wanna make a bag too, but not at the expense of my integrity. That being said, I'm gonna be bringing back my campaign from before I launched my channel called Climbing for Freedom. This was a fundraiser campaign where I asked viewers to donate to a series of human rights organizations supporting people in Palestine, Congo, and Sudan with life-saving supplies and services. And for every $10 they donate, I dedicate a cent to them. The reason I launched that campaign was because I wanted to pair my activism with my climbing practice. I might not protest every day, but I climb all the time. And if I can use my love for climbing to help bring food, water, and medicine to people in need and educate my audience on global issues, then I'm doing exactly what I want and should be doing. So make sure you follow the Climbing for Freedom page on Instagram. Check the link in the description for the list of orgs supporting that campaign. Just DM me on IG a screenshot of your donation receipt, and I'll post a video sending a climb and dedicating it to your donation. I'm gonna also be doing this on my YouTube as well. So, why am I saying this now? Well, it's been a week since Donald Trump took office again, and I'm sure you saw his rich baby daddy, Elon Musk, do a Nazi salute during his victory speech. This is the state of America we're in. Now, don't get me wrong, I was incredibly critical of the Biden administration for their support of the Gaza genocide, their mass deportations, their lack of federal support for hurricane and wildfire victims, their inability to do anything for black people, especially after he deadass went on the Breakfast Club and said, "You ain't black if you vote for Donald Trump." Now, say what you want about that, but it's not like he went on Joe Rogan and said, "You ain't white if you vote for Donald Trump," so miss me with that shit. And you can blame Congress all you want, But Biden seemed to have a lot of executive power when it came to giving Israel billions of dollars to decimate hospitals, refugee shelters, and residential areas. But Americans can only get like $700 after they lose their entire house due to climate destruction? Come on, bruh. Now, I bring up the Democratic failures because their weak and fallacious progressive facade softened the ground for hardcore fascism that is to come with this new Trump presidency. On day one, he upended over 60 years worth of civil rights in this country. He's calling for a militarized border, mass deportations on a whole new scale that will affect your community, whether if you know your fellow climbers and neighbors are undocumented or not. He's stopping refugee admission and redefining birthright citizenship and denying funding to sanctuary cities, Baltimore being one of those cities. He withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement again, upended permits required for energy expansion that would protect wildlife, and he's expanding the use of fossil fuels while limiting opportunities for renewable energy. He's eliminated DEI programs, effectively banned the existence of trans people in this country, and rolled back affirmative action. He's allowed Elon Musk to gut the government and use it as a meme. He removed us from the World Health Organization, and he pardoned over 1,500 insurrectionists. And recently, he also pardoned the two officers, Terrence Sutton and Andrew Zabowski, who killed Karan Hilton in 2020. This really only scratches the surface of the damage he's done in less than a week, and we have 4 more years of this. The only real silver lining I see with Trump in office is that people are waking up again. And all I can really say is that we have to protect each other even more now. The wealthiest people in this country made over $200 billion more since he was elected. And meanwhile, we still don't have free healthcare. Corrupt politicians on both sides of the aisle are making millions of dollars from insider trading, but we don't have free lunches in our schools. One couple owns nearly 60% of California's water supply to make pistachios and pomegranate juice, but LA taxpayers still suffer from droughts that lead to devastating wildfires. And if you thought the wealthiest people ran the country before, well, it was confirmed at Trump's inauguration as the top 5 richest people alive stood in a line together to welcome him back to the Oval Office. So are we cooked? Absolutely. But we have a choice. We can either bury our heads and hope we go unscathed for the next 4 years while our neighbors become more vulnerable by the day, or we can rise up, speak out, and organize in every way possible. We have to resist this regime and go above and beyond when it comes to fighting for our rights and protecting our people. As Trump rolls back DEI, our community should be embracing it more. We should be seeing more women hired as setters and coaches. We should be seeing more opportunities given to climbers of color. Our gym should be strictly barring ICE from entering. And for me, I'm gonna do as much organizing as I can through this sport that I love. So I will be trying my best to bring you content that's more than just climbing, but also food for thought. All right. That's all I really got. Go to town in the comments, like it if you agree, subscribe if you want more rants paired with climbing montages, and remember, it's free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, and free Luigi. Now I'm gonna leave you with me getting sauce throughout the rest of my session. Hope you enjoy. I'll check you in the next one. Peace.
leaving on a high note after that.